And again, thank you all for taking the time to be here. My name's Andrew Neitlich. I'm the founder and director of the Center for Executive Coaching. We do these every once in a while. We have regular open houses, and we have deeper open houses like this one, where we share a tool for you. And today we're going to share with you the Leaders Dashboard. First, just a quick commercial, if you don't mind. We're filling for our January and February seminars. We have a 3-day seminar, February 5th through the 7th. Our 2-day seminar is new. It's at the request of people who can only make weekends. It's the same content, a little bit accelerated, January 13th and 14th. And all of our seminars include our full distance learning program. So you get continuing education support, our full member area that I'll show you, and so on. So if that's of interest, where you want to go is, let me put this in. It's a great way to get our certification quickly while still having tons of support. Okay, it's at centerforexecutivecoaching.com/online-seminar. And I've put that in the chat. Okay, today there's a few things we're going to do. The first is I want to show you where this tool, the Leaders Dashboard, fits in. Then I want to give you an overview of the coaching market and the Center for Executive Coaching. I know some of you are here because you just want the tool. You're already certified coaches. We get that a lot. I wish other coaching programs, coach training programs had the depth of our tools, but the price you're going to have to pay is you're going to have to learn about the Center for Executive Coaching, coaching certification, and the coaching market. And then I'll get into this tool, which is about 1% of our curriculum, but it's really nice. It's easy to use and easy to train. Okay, so let me go to our member area just so you see the context of what we're sharing with you today. Okay, this is the member area you would see more or less when you join. We're actually upgrading to a completely new learning management system, so that we're going to even have a more powerful learning system. But what we have now is quite good. It includes about 1,000 pages of coaching tools, hundreds of hours of coaching videos, and of course, we have live classes. But when you join us, we start with active inquiry and the foundational coaching conversations. We then move to what's the process of coaching. We look at that quite a few ways. Everything from how coaches talk about coaching to how you present your process to the market, to a one-page coaching plan, to how to update sponsors about how the coaching is going, to coaching contracts and proposals. We do a lot on assessments. We give you pretty much a survey course on third-party assessment tools, how to do a proper 360-degree verbal as well. And then the Leaders Dashboard, what we're covering today, comes into play. Okay, but then from there, we're going to cover the ICF core competencies and code of ethics, how to coach a client to change your behavior to be a better leader. That's called behavioral coaching. How to work with clients that might have limiting beliefs without getting into therapy, helping them shift those. How to help with communication so that your clients are communicating more flexibly, more powerfully. Also, a methodology to coach clients on influence. Every good leader is influencing all the time, and a coach can really help leaders wherever they are, whatever level they are, to prepare for those conversations and really achieve their objectives. We look at overwhelm in time and energy and priority management, and how to coach clients struggling with that, which is just about everybody today. By the way, when you click these, just so you see, you're going to get a one-page summary. We have, a toolkit, just like you'll get a toolkit today for the Leaders Dashboard. Typically, there's a PowerPoint, and then we have a series of pre-existing recordings that walk you through the content. So even if you don't get on our live classes, you can always learn the material, and you get 2 years of access to our member area with us, and you get access to all the written documents ongoing, just like any training manual. Anyway, just briefly, other things we cover, right? Basically, we're a situational coaching company. So we look at different situations that come up. We're very market focused, very practical. This is neither a life coaching course nor an academic overview of theory. We want you to know how to coach. So then we move into leadership and executive presence and coaching on that. We coach the whole person. And so we have some modules on coaching when work-life flow intersect and the personal domains. A lot of coaching is about Relationships, professional relationships, up, down, across, and outside. We have wonderful content to help your clients do that. Engaging and motivating employees, resolving conflict. I'll skip that. Team coaching, strategic planning, which you would think is consulting, but it's not anymore. A number of organizations and executives are tired of outsourcing their brains for millions of dollars to consulting firms, and they like the coaching model where we come in and use coaching to help them plan strategy, coaching clients when change initiatives are stuck, succession planning, service excellence, mergers, creating a high-performing culture, executing effectively. You also, with us, will get certifications if you want in career coaching and business coaching. No extra cost. We have terrific content on that, okay? So as you could see, what we're covering today is small in the scheme of things. It's just one tool. So don't get frustrated if you leave here and you're saying, well, how do I actually coach? We're just isolating something to give you a sense of our content, just to see whether or not you want to join our program, essentially. Okay. So with that, let me now just briefly give you a little bit of an overview, and then we'll get to the tool momentarily. So also, let me just share with you why we're doing this, right? One, we want to be transparent. We want to show you our content, our programs. The ask, though, the reason I do this is I'd love to talk to you. Ideally, if it's a good fit for you and it's a good fit for us, I'd love to have you join the program. And so after this, if you like what you've seen and you're serious about executive coaching certification and it's something you want to do, send me an email right via the website. We'll reach out to follow up and just say, yeah, I either want to join or I'd like a strategy session to answer any remaining questions. These coach training companies, they tend to be complicated because of the International Coaching Federation. There's a lot of pathways and requirements, and so it's unlikely I'm going to answer all your questions specific to your situation today, but so be it. That's why I'd like you to reach out and, join. Some of you I see, we've already talked. So if you're ready to join after this, join. Others of you, we haven't talked. And I always want to see somebody's bio or LinkedIn profile because we cater to experienced professionals with a track record of substance and success. We're always going to be a small program because of that. Just briefly about me, I started coaching probably around 2000. So I'm about 23 years in. It took me 1 year as a self-employed coach to replace my salary as a management consultant. I didn't like management consulting anymore. I was starting a family. That is no way to live, getting on an airplane at 5 a.m. on Mondays and coming back when you can. And I also noticed that clients didn't necessarily care anymore about our analyses. They knew the answers. They knew every time I'd present a $250,000 benchmarking study, they'd say, you have a 10% opportunity. They say, yeah, I figured that. And so I started asking, so why do you pay this money? And what they said is what got me into coaching. The clients, every single one of them said, I just need someone to talk to. I know what I need to do. I don't know how to do it. And people are gunning for my job. I really don't have a safe place to go. And I enjoy our conversations. And it was there I came to the conclusion that I did not have to do these analyses that I did not enjoy doing. People in organizations have plenty of analysts. But this being a sounding board, helping people be better leaders is what really drove me. And it turned out there was demand for it. So as a result, I work right here. This is my home office. If you ever watch videos, you might wonder, what's that chair? That is a massage chair. You might wonder, what's the thing there? I don't know if you can see it, but it's a punching bag. And depending on how a meeting goes, I'm either going to be in the massage chair or using the punching bag, or sometimes nothing. But that's it. I work from home. I have a great life. After this, I'm going to go to my daughter's basketball game. I'm going to bring her Chick-fil-A before. I work with amazing leaders on critical issues. Every conversation is exciting. I choose how I use my time. I choose the types of clients I have. I've been able to speak around the world and work around the world. The income is very lucrative, not with life coaching, but with executive and leadership coaching. And I could say, truly, I love my work. It's made me a better person too. People tell me I'm a much better listener, much more mellow than I was before I got into coaching. The one thing for all of you that's really important to note is that since COVID, you have more opportunities. And the reason is that platforms like Zoom that we're on now are accepted. When I started in 2000, everything I did was local. I had to drive to my clients and be with them in person. That is no longer an expectation. You can now have a national or international even practice because everything is online. I have clients around the world. If we spoke 2 decades ago, that would not have been the case. Okay. Center for Executive Coaching, briefly, we're just different. You will know whether we're right for you or not. We're not for everyone. The one thing we are that others are is we're accredited with the International Coaching Federation. We're both a level 1 and level 2. That means you have the easiest pathway to get your ICF designation if you want to. Everything in our program counts towards the ICF. There's one component called mentor coaching that you choose whether to add or not, depending on if you want this, and you can add that later. We're very, very flexible. The people who join us, if you look at the bell curve of people who get into coaching, there's a ton of coaches who I'd put on the left of the bell curve. They're sort of adrift. They haven't done much. It's about their spiritual journey. They tend to go to the life coaching schools and the bigger schools. That's not us. We're looking for a slice of the bell curve on the right. We get dynamic, practical professionals from all walks of life. We get psychologists, physicians, MBAs, people with no degrees, but have shown leadership in what they do. We get returned military, athletes, but they all have a passion for mentoring people, helping people to be better. So the people in our program come from all walks of life, but what you see are people who are HR leaders, company leaders. They have some track record of leadership and advancement. We have entrepreneurs. We have people with advanced or highly technical education that want to get into coaching. We have people with existing professional practices. And what we're known for is personalized support. You can reach out to me anytime. I mean, we have 5, 6 faculty members plus faculty around the world, but I think we're one of the last programs where you could still talk to the founder and it's still, not a fly-by-night company. We're very practical. We're results driven. Okay. We focus on how clients define value. Well, if you're exploring other coach training programs, see how often they mention the word client, value, and results. For us, if you're not talking about that, we don't know what you're doing. Okay. And we're going to give you an unmatched suite of coaching solutions and tools. I just shared with you what those are. Okay. You can go to our website and look at our testimonials. I'm pretty proud of them. You can connect with me on LinkedIn and see actual recommendations from our graduates. When you're on our website, you can, if you look to the right, there's a link. Well, let me just go to it. We've just initiated something that's pretty cool. So I want to show it to you. You see here where it says testimonials, clients, and Hall of Fame. You can see the testimonials. You can see the clients. We just started a coaching Hall of Fame where we're interviewing our graduates. And so, just pick somebody that's interesting to you. If you're not sure you even want to get into coaching, you can see these are real people. We didn't do makeup, they're recording from their computer. So I think that'll be a nice way for some of you to get a sense of what coaches do day to day. Okay. All right. Let's make sure you know what coaching is. Let's talk about the market. Let's talk a little bit more about your options with the Center for Executive Coaching, and then we'll get to this tool. And again, those of you who are here live and stay till the end, I'll give you a 60-page ebook that shows you exactly what our content looks like. You can read the definitions of coaching here. Coaching overlaps with a lot of professional services. An article from Harvard Business Review about becoming an executive coach just shared that 93% of coaches don't just coach. They consult, they train, they facilitate, and that's certainly true for me and for our fellow members. You can be a pure coach if you want, but it overlaps with other professional services and services, right? But therapy is going into the emotional past. Consulting is very directive, very much about giving advice. Coaching is more about asking powerful questions, having dialogue, making observations, challenging your client, being a thinking partner, a sparring partner, a sounding board to help your client figure it out for themselves and move forward. That's not to say you can't give advice as a coach. You can. There's just a right way to do it and a time to do it. Okay. everybody in our program struggles with going from being a consultant to being a coach. So don't worry about that. The people who join us are used to directing, telling, diagnosing, figuring things out. And so our job is to show you new types of conversations that are really powerful. Briefly, the market is about $3 billion, according to an International Coaching Federation study. Harvard Business Review published a study showing it's $1 billion in the US with 5.5% growth. That includes the pandemic recession. The great thing about coaching right now is that the studies are done. It has been proven to work. There's no question. You can go online and find studies, go to the ICF website, and you're going to see that for every dollar invested, it has been proven that there's a $4 to $8 return. If you combine coaching and training, you get 4 times the results you would from training alone. There's studies to document that. And, 5 years ago when I was doing this presentation, although it looked different, I'd only share the percentage of Fortune 500 companies that used coaching regularly. Now it's everybody. U.S. military, lumber and oil and gas companies, like where you wouldn't think they do coaching because they're hierarchical and kind of macho. Everybody has embraced coaching as a way to help people grow and be better. So that's really terrific too. Don't think you have to be a CEO to coach. Don't think you only have to coach CEOs. Okay. You find the market that works for you. People in our program are coaching at the C-suite, senior leaders, middle managers, up and coming talent, first-time managers, career transitions, entrepreneurs, business owners, solo professionals. It's up to you. Some focus on women, some focus on men, some focus by age, some focus by ethnicity, some focus by any number of things. Okay, there's a lot of places to play, and you choose the type of organization where you want to work. I started with small nonprofits. Now I do larger organizations as well as pretty successful family businesses. So you pick the size, you pick the type: nonprofit, for-profit, government, education, solo professionals, and you get to pick your model too. So you could be a full-time external coach, a part-time external coach. With our program, I guarantee you, money back guarantee, no one will match the marketing materials and support we give you to build a practice. There's no snake oil with our program. We're not going to be one of those ads you see, how to become a overnight millionaire as a coach. It's a business like any other, and we're going to show you how to do it right, properly. Okay. You could be a full-time internal coach or do coaching as part of your larger strategic HR role. We have people who do it as a side business while working full-time. That's how I started. Very common. We have people who want to build a firm, and we've had graduates. If you go to that Hall of Fame and look up Ilana, she's built a firm, a coaching firm, which is pretty cool. You can subcontract for a larger coaching broker if you don't like to market. And you can use coaching as part of other things you're doing, as many coaches do. You can do it with consulting, training, speaking, writing, facilitation, and so on. Okay. All right, great. Let's see. Are there any questions here? Is there a recommended course within CEC for an internal coach within a business as HR? Yeah, all of our courses will apply to that. We train lots of internal coaches. We train some coaches at some of the top leadership advisory firms. We train internal cohorts, for instance, at a lot of healthcare organizations. And in our textbook, we have a whole addendum about best practices in internal coaching. So that's a good question. And you and I could talk anytime as well. I think it's just important for you to know if you'd be a coach or not. This is interesting conversations going on in the chat about bots and stuff. So that's pretty funny. I'll take questions after though, just so you can see. So this is what's important. Like, the way I knew I would be a good coach is because I was fascinated by peak performance. How can we help people achieve peak performance? And as I shared as a consultant, I really wanted to focus in on the cool stuff that I enjoyed most and that my clients seemed to enjoy most. I would say everybody who joins our program has some sort of passion for developing other people to be their best. And a lot of our members will say that in their careers, mentoring, coaching, and developing others have been among their most rewarding moments in their career. Two, both partly because of our culture, which is very supportive and very positive at the Center for Executive Coaching, and because of what I think a coach needs. We believe that to be an effective coach, your natural orientation should be towards creating possibilities and opportunities. You're the type of person that moves forward and not backwards, right? I don't think cynics make good coaches. I don't think people who are negative make good coaches. Your job is to stand for your clients' most inspiring aspirations and commitments. And to do that, you have to be naturally, I think, inclined towards possibilities. Three, coaching is a conversation. It's a very particular type of conversation. It's important that you're a good listener, you're good at collaboration and dialogue. Having said that, I wasn't when I started coaching. I was really very much about me being smart and giving advice. And, it took me a few sessions before I figured out how important this is. So don't worry so much about this. It's more, though, that you understand that this is what it takes, and that being a good coach and a lot of our training is about being in the moment, letting the client be responsible for their choices and helping them have new insights and move forward. And finally, we believe that executive coaching is a privilege. It's something you earn the right to do. I think, therefore, you should have something that makes you credible, some sort of track record of leadership, education, achievement, study. We really cater to experienced professionals because you have a built-in edge. Okay. It's funny because I know I could coach anybody about anything. I don't care what their industry is, what their situation is. If coaching is what they want and it's an appropriate conversation, I can do it. But the clients don't know that. It's just easier to have a certain amount of credibility so that they want to hire you. Okay. Does this make sense? I hope you all check these boxes off. Again, our job is to train you as a coach. Don't worry if you don't have experience. Don't worry if you haven't been in corporate. A lot of people haven't. We're going to show you all of that. Okay. Let me just take a moment if there's any questions on this. Okay. All right. Just briefly, and then we'll get to the tool. Here's can we get access to these slides? Yes, I've already provided access. So you're going to have to email me. Okay. At this point. Applicability to local government execs, very much so. Some of my own clients are local government. What's really interesting in government is they're one of these sectors that is embracing coaching. You'll probably need an International Coaching Federation designation because government, healthcare, universities, all, they're pretty formal. They're credential focused, and they want you to have that ICF. And that's what we are. We're a level 1 and level 2 accredited organization with the International Coaching Federation. There's a lot of, you almost need a law degree to figure out what it takes to get your ICF. When you join our ICF training program, we make it happen for you. We orient you, we get you everything you need. For the first level of the ICF, which for you would be called ACC, you need 60 hours of training. Half of that training has to be live. We have 15 hours of classes every week. You choose which ones to attend. You also need something called mentor coaching. We provide that, and we provide it in such a way that the ICF audits us so that you do not have to submit recordings to the ICF. Okay, whether you join us or not, join a level 1 or level 2 program. Don't do a patchwork training thing, because then you have to submit recordings of your coaching to the ICF, and they can take a long time to respond for that. All right. Level 2, which is what we are, gets you your PCC. There you just need a bit more training. And now instead of 100 hours of coaching experience, you need 500. So a lot of people start with the ACC, build up their coaching experience and upgrade. You don't pay us a penny more to do that. You'll pay the ICF another application fee, but that's about it. We even match you up with our members so that you can get your coaching experience. Because if you barter, like if I coach you for a half hour, you coach me for a half hour, that we each can count a half hour. And a lot of our members do just that. Timothy has a nice point in the chat that being a subject matter expert introduces biases. That is interestingly accurate. I find that I'm a better coach when I'm coaching someone and I know nothing. I've had a good time coaching a Grammy Award-winning musician recently, and it's been really cool. And I know nothing about music. I'm tone deaf. I have no rhythm. I can't dance. He's the expert on that, but he never sees his kids. And so the coaching is about, first, he's getting older and he's worried about what his legacy will be. And second, how can he see his kids and get more time? And, he has issues saying no. And it's fascinating. But I don't know anything about it. And it's, very strong coaching just because I don't know. Anyway, with us, you have the greatest flexibility for applying to the ICF. If you read reviews online about us, we are known as the coach training company for busy professionals. You choose which classes to attend. Everything's recorded. You can start anytime. We make sure all of our classes stand on their own. Kavita, the cost for our ICF training is $7,350, or you can pay 10 monthly installments of $750. We're also very transparent about our pricing. Other companies get you into a foundations course, and before you know it, you're paying $12,000, and you never knew. We don't have any hidden costs. Okay, we're super transparent on our website, so just be careful. The reason people join us, though, is because the ICF has 60,000 people with designations. We want you to stand out. Okay, their core competencies are great. I'm grateful to them, but we don't believe that they're sufficient to succeed in the market, and that's where we come in. We're going to give you tools and resources and marketing guidance or internal guidance to position yourself so you're successful. Okay. We also have another certification. We just got renewed with them for 3 more years, and it's called the Board Certified Coach. It's through the Center for Credentialing and Education. If you have a master's degree or higher in a relevant field, like an MBA, a JD, a master's in psychology or OD, you can get that, and you don't need to do the ICF mentor coaching. It's only $4,900, and you can even count past coaching hours. The ICF doesn't let you do that. You only need 30 hours of coaching experience. And again, we can match you up with members. They don't like peer coaching, but our members are also in leadership roles, so you can coach them on that and meet the criteria. So go to our website, and in the drop-down, you'll see the BCC. Okay? But that's basically it before we get to the tool. We're a leader in executive coach training, specifically for experienced professionals. With us, you get a boutique experience. We're about 1% of the market. Some of the other companies you're looking at are 50% of the market. You're just going to be like cattle. Not with us. We train top coaches at top organizations. Again, you can go to our website to see that. And I think you get the gist of what we are. I just want to conclude with our pledge to you. I'll show you where on the website to explore our programs, and then we'll get to the training on the Leaders Dashboard, okay? So this is our pledge. It's on our shopping cart as well. We're committed to the best content, best support, best members, right? One of the benefits I didn't anticipate, but that people report when we do our satisfaction surveys, is just how supportive our community is. We have ways to match you up based on common interests. And we have a private LinkedIn group. You're going to meet a lot of amazing people, especially if you come to a seminar or do the ICF program and the mentor coaching. And to us, success is not defined as giving you a piece of paper. We will do that, but we want you to succeed as a coach, and we want your clients to love you. And so that's how we define success. So we're going to support you ongoing. Okay. I mean, technically you get 2 years of access to the website, but I'm still talking to people from 10 years ago. Okay. I still personally respond to your questions. You will be surprised how quickly I respond. Okay. This is like what I enjoy doing. I have office hours for our members. So you're basically getting a help desk from a successful coach. We'll go beyond the ICF core competencies, and you're going to get some amazing tools. Okay. So rather than continue with the PowerPoint, let me just show you where you want to go. Leah says, would I recommend the BCC or the ICF path? The fact is, in the market, the International Coaching Federation is really recognized as what they call the gold standard. And they have chapters. They advocate for coaching. They're always going to be better known. So if you're in doubt, though, start with the BCC. Everything you do for that counts towards the ICF. without, again, it's $4,900. Just add that extra $2,500 when you want the ICF. You get everything in our core $4,900 program except for 10 hours of mentor coaching. So if you're not sure, get in and decide. You'll talk to other members. The market will tell you. But candidly, the ICF has about 60,000 designated coaches. The BCC, last I checked, was about 1/10 that. And that makes sense because they're for folks with a master's degree and so on. Okay. But the ICF is better known. I've seen RFPs that ask for ICF coaches. I've never seen one that mentions the BCC, but perhaps that doesn't mean, I haven't seen everything. All right, let's go, if we could, just to the website. I'll show you where to go if you have interest. You see this Get Certified link? This is where you can look at everything. You'll see the board certified coaches here, the ICF, the core distance program. I suggest, though, just start here, scroll down. This is a super long page. This is one of the ways we kind of figure out who's a fit, because we want people who can still read, and that is a dying market, I'm afraid. We are not going to be a Denny's menu, okay? We're pretty serious about, there's a rigor to become an executive coach. You'll see our curriculum. You'll see what sets us apart. There's more than what I've shared. Most importantly, just go down here to where it says your options. Okay. If in doubt, the distance learning program is $4,900. It's everything we have, everything, except for 10 hours of mentor coaching and except for a virtual or in-person seminar. You get certification as an executive coach, career coach, and business coach. We have 15 hours of live, highly interactive webinar classes. You can click here to see the schedule, okay? You're going to get about 1,000 pages and 30 tools for the most pressing issues that clients have. You're going to get our textbook. We have a quick coaching reference guide, which is like a 65-page, executive summary of different coaching situations and what to do. There's over 600, it says 400, we have to update that, 600 PowerPoint slides for training and facilitation, community, all the other stuff we've talked about, and it's just $4,900, okay? We'll be raising our prices in 2024. Why? We did a study, and we're about 50% less than other programs. If you want the ICF, everything you do here counts as the ICF. You can get all you need for level 1 and level 2, except mentor coaching. That's $2,500 more. Okay, so if you want the ICF, just join that now. And you get everything. It takes 5 to 6 months. Our core program takes 2 to 4 months. The reason for the difference is the mentor coaching, which has to happen over a certain amount of time. Okay, and that gets you our certificate to apply to the ICF, their easiest way. The only other thing missing is our seminar. Our seminars get rave reviews. I love leading them. Again, it's $2,500 more. So the seminar without the mentor coaching is also $7,350. Our next one is in January. If you want to be an executive coach, you can join and get that done in January, and you still get access to the full distance program. We don't just sell the seminar. And finally, a lot of people, pretty much the most popular, and we're thinking of just offering this, is everything. ICF, a seminar, the core program. It's going to be $15,000 soon. Right now, it's $9,800 or 10 monthly installments of $1,000. Again, we've done the studies. Finally, we're affiliated with St. Joseph's University. You can click here if you just want to learn about getting a university certificate as well. Okay. So I think that's pretty good. Let me just take some questions about this, and then we'll get to the Leaders Dashboard. I just want to see if anybody has questions I missed. I went through it quickly. Let me put in the chat where you go to see that overview. It's basically our website, Center for Executive Coaching.com/overview. That's really where you want to go to see things. But let me just stop for a minute before we get to the Leaders Dashboard and see what, if any, comments you have. When is the pricing going to change in 2024? I have an advisory board. We're talking about it. So I don't know, but I suspect February. Steve, what's the difference between the seminar and the distance program? The seminar includes the distance program. The distance program you complete either by watching recordings in the member area or getting on our live classes. We have 5 faculty, myself included. I'm actually starting a whole new cycle in January. I teach Tuesdays and Thursdays, 1 to 2:30. It might be the last cycle I teach. So it would be nice to have you there, just as as we get bigger. So it would be a good time to join for that. That's the distance program. And you graduate the distance program by submitting recordings with a self-assessment we give you. And I or another faculty will review that. With the seminar, you don't have to submit those recordings. The seminar extracts the best parts of the program for a seminar, completely optional. And again, if in doubt, you can add a seminar later and just pay the difference, which is currently $2,500. Okay. Julia, if you're already a coach with us and you want the ICF certification, you just add mentor coaching. And you can do that through your member area. There's a place called a la carte, and you'll see mentor coaching there. Okay. Can you use a 529 plan? I don't know the answer to that. I don't think so, because the St. Joseph's is it's a non-credit course out of their professional development center. Okay. And again, if you have an MBA, you're eligible for the board certified coach certification through the Center for Credentialing. Go to our website where it says BCC. All right. Oh, that's a good question. Robin asked, what does mentor coaching look like? So mentor coaching, it's an awesome program, and some people take it even if they don't care about the ICF. It's a 3-month program. You're with a cohort of 9 other coaches. And during this time, you'll have 4 90-minute meetings with everybody. And then you'll schedule time with one other coach and the mentor coach to coach each other. And the mentor coach is trained to look for how you're demonstrating the ICF competencies. And so you graduate that program when you can demonstrate that, yeah, you can demonstrate the behaviors the ICF is looking for. Okay. If you do distance learning, are you still matched up with others to build up coaching hours? Yeah, let me go to the member area just to show. Actually, I don't know that I can. Let me see. So here's here's the member area. And you'll see, I can't show it to you because I can't break confidentiality, but you see this tab, match with other coaches. That's our coach matching service. We're upgrading it too to make it even better. But you could basically activate your profiles to show up, and people will match up with you to practice coaching. So it's pretty cool. So yeah, any of our programs include that. How are mentor coaches chosen? Mentor coaches are like our mentor coach, Sherry Boone, who leads it. We did an extensive interview process with her about 10 years ago, more, 12 years ago. And she was amazing. She's well respected. She teaches other mentor coaches, and other people who are mentor coaches in our program meet that same criteria. So I think you're going to love that experience. Okay. If you're worrying about time zones, again, just check our live class schedule. We also have a trainer in Romania, so you can work directly with her, and you'll see that on the website under Western Europe. I mean, we really have faculty in quite a few places. All right, questions are getting fairly specific, so I think it's a good time to go to this leaders dashboard, okay? So I have put this in the chat. I think some of you have come a little bit late, so just give me a second. If you don't mind indulging me, I'm going to put this in the chat again. Okay, let me put both documents in. I'll give you the larger document shortly, but let me give you at least the tool so that you can play with it with me, and you have it if you don't want to stay for the whole thing. Hold on just a sec. Here it is. Okay, so in the chat, I'm putting both the PowerPoint I just sent you through and the first piece, okay? So let me show you what this thing is. First of all, there's 2 documents. The second document is about 60 pages, and you can see it's an example of our toolkits. Okay, our toolkits, let me make this a little bit bigger. I'll give you this at the end if you hang out, okay? But all of our toolkits come with an executive summary. They tell you when to use this. They tell you exactly what you'll hear from the client that tell you to use it. They give you a process and coaching plan, other resources in our program to consider. Often we'll give you proposal language sample and some practical tips. Then we get to the toolkit and how to use it. In this case, you almost get a whole ebook about how to use this in different situations. I wrote an ebook at the behest of somebody who wanted me to roll this out as a program. So that's there. And you'll see instructions to lead others to complete it. Okay. That's essentially what you get with our program, is a whole series of tools. I guarantee you no other program comes close. And our whole program is about teaching you how to use these tools in the right circumstance with your clients. This is a very simple tool. And that's why we're doing it here, because you don't have to know how to coach. You don't have to know anything really. The idea of this tool is that it's a one-page tool that helps your clients get grounded on what matters most to their success. It's excellent to use at the beginning of a coaching engagement, and I'll check in with clients every month. It's essentially an executive level development plan that you can use with your clients to keep them grounded and focused. I do this with every client during leadership coaching engagements, and I also do it with clients that are overwhelmed, because on one page, they can get everything that matters to them. This tool has tremendous versatility. I've worked with clients who have had their whole team fill it in, and it becomes a roll-up alignment guide. We have a graduate of our program who did this with a national nonprofit, and every single branch did this and had their team do it. Very, very powerful, very, very straightforward and simple, yet elegant and impactful. You can do this with your client about their organization, their career. To Stephen Covey and how he used to have people do mission plans for every part of their life, you could have somebody do this for their marriage, their role as a parent, their role in their community, whatever. Okay, so it's really interesting. Essentially, on one page, we're challenging the client to get clear on their vision, their mission, their values, what sets them apart or their organization apart. Get focused on the top 3 initiatives that matter, the top 3 performance metrics that matter, key relationships, and their top development opportunities. It's so simple, but it's a great tool. The way I administer this is when I start a coaching engagement, there's a whole assessment phase. And so as we set up assessments, I say to my client, I'd like you to fill this in as best you can. Use the instructions that are here. I'm going to walk you through these instructions. I want you to do this for yourself. So think about what role you'd like to do it as, ideally as a coach, even if you're not a coach yet. The client fills it in, and we have a coaching session on it. And I say to them, how'd it go? Where are you clear? Where are you not clear? What do you want to focus on? And what does this mean for our coaching relationship? Some clients are great at vision. Some clients are not so great. Some, I worked with a health system. I did this with the CEO of a health system. They didn't have 3 initiatives. He said, I'm really proud of this, Andrew. Come to this room. He took me to a conference room, and there was all this flip chart paper with 150 initiatives that they had at that health system. And I said, how do you manage this? He says, well, you're right. There's redundant stuff, and some physicians won't work with others. So they have 2 separate things working on the same thing. And honestly, I don't know. So we got him down to 5, not 3, but at least 5. And we did a whole exercise to simplify. And some of the biggest, most complex organizations, they're too complicated and they're unmanageable as a result. Good strategy, good leadership is about simplifying what you'll do and what you won't. Performance metrics, same thing, key relationships, and so on. Okay. So this is essentially the tool. I want to walk you through it so we can see. All right. And let's see, if we are in the program, can we rebrand the tools? Yes. We are very, very free with our content. So you'll see at the bottom, the restrictions, small print, but let's see if we can make it bigger. Let's see here. So it says you can't share this except with your own clients, right? So you can't go out and just give it away on your website. And if you're going to you can't train other coaches. And if you're going to use it, just say adapted with permission from the Center for Executive Coaching. Same with all our stuff. We can even give you a Word version of these if you wish. Okay. So again, you won't find a program that's as cool about their intellectual capital as we are, because we want you to succeed. We also talk about when to use this stuff and when not to. Okay. So let's get to the tool. I'm going to skip the other things. So what I'd love to do with you here is just walk you through kind of a self-coaching exercise for you. So you can see both what our tools are, but also I want you to get some value out of this. So, let's just say this is for your role as a coach. Okay. Sometimes what I'll do this, you see 2 columns here. Sometimes I do this with a client for their career and for their organization. I've had at least one client realize that the difference between the 2 columns was so great, particularly on values, that he didn't want to work there anymore. And that's perfectly fine. Okay. So let's start with vision. There's like 3 ways I'll work with a client on vision. And you'll see that these tools are basically workbook form. I very rarely give them to clients except with a tool like this. I want to coach face-to-face. But think about yourself as a coach. And just for a minute, I want you to think about, some time frame and what would it mean for you if everything was successful for you as a coach, like beyond your wildest dreams. I just want you to kind of write down or think about your vision, talk about it as if it already happened. That's the first thing. And, again, our tools have idea joggers. What problems will you solve? What will you be famous for? What are you known for doing best? What target market? Are you a solo practitioner? How do you feel? Where are you working? Are you global? Do you have books? Do you have awards? For me, when I first started, candidly, my vision was pretty limited. I adapted my vision later on. I just wanted to be in a place where I loved what I was doing, work from home, was not, didn't have to report to anybody and could build the family. That was it. Over time, my vision got a little bit more ambitious when I realized I could do it. So I hope you're thinking about this. Like, don't just sit here thinking I'm delivering content to you. What is your vision? You have to know where you want to go. And, we want people in our program who have a vision. There's something that excites you, gets you going. There's 2 other ways to do vision, by the way. One, I'll have clients sometimes pull some images from the internet, and put them on a PowerPoint slide. I did this too. Mine, again, was pretty pedestrian. I had, I think, 4 pictures in a grid. One was an airplane because I knew I wanted to travel to some cool places and speak, and I got to do that. 2, I showed a book because I wanted to write a book. 3, I showed, a family with me, being happy. And 4, I remember I got a picture of Djokovic sliding on a tennis court. I love playing tennis, and I wanted enough time to play tennis during the day. And, all of those things came true. Venkat asked, do I give a personality test to figure out if someone has the appropriate traits to be a good coach? No, but our program does include an assessment that you can take, a highly validated one, so that you can see how coaches use a highly valid, highly reliable data. And you have to figure out based on that assessment what your strengths are and how to use them as a successful coach. There's nothing on that assessment. We always call them assessments, not tests, that would disqualify you from being a coach. Early in this presentation, I shared with you what we think the 4 criteria are for a good coach. There's one other way I'll do vision with a client, and I invite you to do this with me. Think about your coaching practice in the future as if it was successful as it's ever going to be, like you're delighted. And what's the first image that comes to mind for you? Could be an image from nature, geology. I've seen people do it with astronomy. Sometimes people have designs. Think about what that is. Like for me, I'm pretty uncreative. I just had a big giant oak tree. That's all I had. Pretty lame, but that's it. But that was interesting because then I could say, well, where am I in this picture? Anyone have an image that you can share? Like when you think about yourself as a coach, you're super successful. What's the first image that comes to mind that's like a metaphor? Kayak, nice. I like that. I could see working with that with you. Anybody else? Sun, good. Shooting star, beautiful. Mountains, yeah. Ocean, excellent. The other question I'll ask my client then is, so what image comes up for you now? Oh, eagle's a good one. RVing, nice. What's the image that comes up for you now when you maybe have a budding practice? For me, again, I'm uncreative. I just had a sapling. That's it. Small tree, needed nurturing, weak, and I wanted to get to the other point. So anyway, there's a lot you can do with that kind of imagery. Some clients like it, some don't. The musician I'm working with loves it, but I've been surprised. I've worked with some folks in private equity-owned companies. You'd think they were left-brained analytical. They really love this kind of exercise. But anyway, we're going to get them in touch with their vision. Okay. Let's keep going. Then we're going to move to mission. Mission to me, right? And I understand that there's different definitions of vision and mission. I tend to, for me, vision, I take it literally. It is, what is your vision? paint a picture with words or even images. Mission for me is, what's your purpose? Okay, so with a client who's looking at their career, or for you as a coach, what's your why? And truly, a mission is pretty straightforward. I've been hired by companies, and I'll show you this methodology when you join the program, to figure out their mission. And I can do it with a company in about an hour. And I've often been told, jeepers, we paid 20 grand, $200,000, whatever, to somebody, and they took 4 months and didn't get us there, and you got us there in an hour. But think about, for you, we'll do this exercise together. This exercise actually changed my life when I did a variation of it. But I want you to write down, if you have a pen or on a computer, what are up to 3 talents that you have, things you're good at, but you like doing. You have to like them. Like, if you're good at cleaning toilets, but you don't like it, don't write that down. What's a talent you have that you like to use? Take a minute and think about that. Alexander, you're asking a good question, and we can use the Leaders Dashboard for all of these things. It's not or. We can use it for the CEO as an individual, for the CEO in their role, and for the organization. So this is a very versatile tool. So hopefully you have your talents. Again, what I had at the time that I wanted to, get better at, and I like doing, were speaking, writing, and training. That's all I had. Okay. And then the second thing, we'll skip the second one. What's the contribution you want to make in the world? Like, back then when I first did this, it was to have people have clarity and abundance and feel freer. What's the end state you want people to have or feel or be because you're a coach? What difference do you want to make? Okay. So yeah, engagement. Good. Think about that. That's all a mission is, by the way. A mission is, how do we use our talents to make a difference, to contribute? Same thing with companies. Nike wants everyone to experience the thrill of competition, and their talents are designing and manufacturing sportswear that allows that to happen. That's it. Good. Yeah, Steve, nice one. To help leaders use their influence for the good of those they lead. Beautiful. Doesn't have to be complicated. So again, I want to see how clear my client is on the mission, and how clear the organization is. If I'm working with an organization in a retreat setting and coaching a board, for instance, I want them to go around the table and tell me what the mission, if it's an existing mission, means to them. Nice. Kate, I really like yours about peaceful, happy about their choices, achieving their potential. Good. Our program is designed for exactly that. So that's mission. Then we got to get into core values. Let me make this a little smaller since this is landscape. Here's the thing about values when I'm working with CEOs. Often they know their values. They've done the work, right? I'm never going to be one of these obnoxious coaches who does overkill on mission, vision, and values. If the client already knows their values, what I want to talk about is, where aren't you modeling these values? For instance, in many companies, there's the value of respect and caring for others, and yet somehow the organization tolerates a top performer who's obnoxious and leaves bodies in their wake. So that is a values mismatch. Okay. But, some clients, they don't know their values yet. They're newer leaders. We want to get them in touch with their non-negotiable values. And so I'm going to give them the list you see on the right. It extends to the next page too. And I'll have them circle, maybe 10 to 15 values that really call to them. I'll have them cross a few out until they get to 5. But the real conversation I have in my coaching is, where is their hypocrisy? For instance, I worked with a consulting firm that said people are our most important asset. And when I interviewed staff, the consultants, they said that's a lie. We are not important at all. This is a sweatshop. We're expected to work 7 days a week, 24 hours. Our life is not our own. So we had a tough conversation. As the coach to the managing partner, I said, you're lying. You can say that's your value, but it's not true. So what are you going to do? You have 2 choices, right? Either make the company fit the value, or be honest about your real value, which is we're tenacious, aggressive, up or out. And we attract people who appreciate that. You can get rich here, but you have to work your butt off. He chose that, to his credit. It made recruiting easier. They weren't recruiting people who, were buying into this "we care about people" stuff, and the firm actually got better. So again, just with this leader's dashboard, you could see really important conversations that can happen. Okay. One thing I don't even have to do this with you. One thing I know about coaches is they're pretty clear on their values. That's why I like training coaches. But, think about your core values. They may not be what you think they are. Variability is one of mine. My family, taking care of my family, super important to me. But these are things I had to learn based on how I spent my time and looked at my commitment there. When I was in my 20s, I would never have said that kind of stuff. But then I saw who I really am, and I realize who I am now. I know my values. It's a really nice feeling to work with leaders to get them in touch with that. And the other thing we're going to look at is what your values are not. Let me see if I have this here. I don't have. So the other thing I'll say is, what are values you won't tolerate when you see them? And often that's even more important. If we see disrespect, abusive, verbal abuse, and then I'm going to hold my client accountable for that. Okay. Next, we get to edge. This is really important for you as a coach. I find that coaches have the hardest of all the things on this dashboard. Coaches have the most difficulty differentiating themselves from other coaches. Coaches in our program tend to have an edge coming in. They're already credible. They're experienced. One of the things you'll get in our program is I'll work personally with you to figure out your edge. And edge can be, unlike other coaches in this space, here's what sets me apart. It can't be something that the client takes for granted or doesn't care about, like intuition or listening. That's like an airplane company saying we land safely. Okay, it's something people take for granted. You really have to find your edge. Okay, it could be years of experience in an organization. It could be a particular result you're known for getting. It could be deep education and research in a topic. Perhaps more than others about communication, public speaking. And again, you don't have to have that edge now. As you go through our program, you're going to see so many examples of coaching situations that you'll figure it out. But anyway, anyone have a sense of your edge? Just to give you an example, when I first started, I never would have anticipated this, but what a lot of places hired me for was that I was blunt and I told the truth. So it turns out that a lot of nonprofit boards didn't do that with each other, and they needed someone like me to come in. Yet candor, Susan, you and I share that. I needed to come in and call out differences in a respectful manner to help boards of directors and leaders get on the same page about the direction of the organization. So I was really good at hearing those things, calling them out, and synthesizing or bringing people to clarity when they face complex choices. Okay, but again, this can include your education, your ICF credential, but really it's something you're going to have to figure out. You could also use a stack. Scott Adams has this concept of stack. You don't have to be great at one thing, but if you can find 3 things you're pretty good at, like he was a good cartoonist, he was somewhat funny, and he knew a little bit about corporate culture. He combined those to create the Dilbert comic strip, which was wildly successful. Excellent, Steve. I love that. Military background. There's tons you can bring from that. Resilience, personal growth oriented is great if you can prove it and you have good stories to tell. Good. Crisis situations when people have lost all hope. Excellent. So that's good. That's the kind of thing we're going to work with you with. Here's what's funny about this is often it's right in front of you. Often you're good at calling out and helping others see their edge, but you have trouble doing it for yourself. That's where we come into play. We can talk anytime. Nice. Former marathon runner, so you know what it takes to go the long haul and to persevere. Excellent. Really good stuff. Okay, so that's edge. Next is performance. What are your top 3 performance goals? Again, I work with clients all the time that have like 50 performance goals. And so they and all of their team are running around like chickens with their head cut off. I worked with one client where their corporate headquarters would send different goals every week. And it was impossible to lead in that environment. So we had to figure out how he was going to cope with that. But, if you were a coach, what would you say your top 3 goals are? Top 3 performance goals that show that you are successful. It could be getting your first client. It could be making enough money to replace your previous salary. It could be helping clients with a particular issue and being known for that. Anybody have any ideas? Again, for me, my first goal was just to prove that I could replace my salary as an unhappy management consultant, right? Great. Publishing a book on coaching. Excellent. One of my early visions, finish the certification. Good. One of my early goals was to write a book. And when I declared that to the CEC members, somebody introduced me to J. Conrad Levinson, who wrote Guerrilla Marketing. And we talked, and we ended up writing 3 books together. It's awesome. One was Guerrilla Marketing for Coaches. Good. Nice. I see some good stuff in the chat. So next, what are your initiatives? What are you going to do to make this happen? You know, some clients are great here and not so great at vision. Some are great at vision, but they're terrible at saying, so how are we going to realize our vision? What are the 1, 2, or 3, maybe up to 5 initiatives that are most important, right? So when I first started, I wrote a book. I committed to getting some speaking opportunities about some challenges I could help clients with. Those were at least 2 of my initial initiatives. So yeah, getting word of mouth referrals, that's good. We show you, by the way, how to ask for referrals properly. Most coaches do it poorly. We have a whole business development intensive about that. So one of the things you get with us is a whole curriculum for building a practice. You know, how do you position yourself? How do you write good marketing copy so people know that you can solve their problems and help them with their most pressing challenges? How do you get visible? How do you price? When and how do you write proposals? How do you sell without selling to close engagements? We show you how to do all of that. It's also important if you're an internal coach. Okay, so key projects and initiatives. All right, and then we get into relationships. So what's interesting in today's world with remote work and highly technical organizations is a lot of leaders have forgotten the undercurrent of politics and relationships and how much easier it is to get stuff done if you have strong professional relationships. One of my clients is a venture capitalist, reports to the CEO of a pretty decent sized venture capital firm focused in biotech. People hate working with him in the company. His portfolio company CEOs love him, but the board said, you got to get a coach if you want to continue to be here. And so, you know, we worked on the fact that a lot of his colleagues avoided him, and it hurt the ability of the company to make smart decisions with investments because of the way he came across. And so a lot of the coaching was figuring out how to rebuild those relationships. So up, down, across, I'm going to ask my client for their most important personal relationships. And if it turns out they're having conflicts or they're invisible to senior leadership, they have conflicts with colleagues, their engagement scores are low, there's lots of attrition, this tool helps to figure out where we focus the coaching. And we have additional resources to coach clients to improve these. We have a ton of stuff about managing up, improving relationships across, engaging and motivating employees, building teams, and so on. So, you know, should you join the program, one of the things we talk to you about is your network of professional relationships, especially if you're an external coach. How can you expand that to either form alliances or build or leverage the network you do have so you can pivot into coaching? If you're internal, you have to be seen as strategic, and you have to have a great relationship at the most senior levels of your organization. And we work with you to do that effectively. You don't want to just be that like coach of last resort that's helping people with performance improvement plans, or they want to fire them, so they send them to you. That's not what we're talking about in this program. And finally, we look at development. This is where a true development plan dovetails with the leader's dashboard. You know, what are areas for your professional development? In your case, it might be coach training. We can fill that. For me, it was selling and marketing. That's why that's built into this program. I was scared most about getting out there and selling. And what I learned after 20 years is it's just a conversation to see if they want coaching or not. I don't pitch, I don't push, and so on. But anyway, often clients and the rest of the assessment work we do during an engagement will help the client figure out some skills, a behavior, an attitude, which I think we have on the next page, a behavior that they can start, stop, do more, do less. Okay. So I give this to a client to fill out. I don't give them what I just shared with you. I'll give you that document if you want it at the end momentarily. But the client will bring this to our second coaching meeting and we'll go through it. And that plus other ways of assessing the client that you'll learn about in the program help to hone and focus the coaching plan. And this becomes a living, breathing document. Every month, every couple of months, I'll say, hey, let's take this out. What do you want to celebrate? What have you done? Where are you struggling? What's changed? And so on. Okay. And again, very versatile. You can use it as a career document, although we also have a whole career plan tool that I think is a little more focused on that. You can use it as a mini strategy. You can use it to help your client develop. All right. What questions do you have about what we covered there? What insights did you have about coaching? Again, this is just one tool. I don't think it's 1% of our program, but I want to share it with you. If you were in our program, I would not teach it the way I just did. Okay. You would actually complete it and you would practice coaching each other on it. You might see a coaching demonstration with the larger group, and then we'd break into groups and you'd practice. Everything we do in our program is super interactive. So it's different. It's just that these public seminars, I don't know who comes, but there's always one weirdo who doesn't know they're a weirdo. And so I'm not comfortable putting you into groups and stuff like that. I'm just being a bit honest. So anyway, what questions do you have about either the tool? You can put it in the chat, or about coaching, the ICF, the board certified coach, our program, anything that's on your mind. And let me take this off record at this point too. Those of you listening to the recording, again, reach out anytime if you have interest in executive coach certification with us. Okay, let me pause record.